Today we are discussing Traveling to Infinity, the book by Jane Hawking, Stephen Hawking's wife.
Trinity, why don't you kick us off?
Since Stephen was predicted to die so early, his family really had to rush to achieve things that he wanted to get done in his life, like to have a family and to get married to Jane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really all rushed along, and that put a huge strain on their marriage.
I don't know if they would have gotten married if
No.
he wasn't...
Chronically ill.
Yes.
Yeah, I think they might have if they took their time a little more, but they really, really rushed things because Stephen was supposed to die.
Yeah, they never really grew together, and they kind of pushed back things that they should have been more open about because they didn't think it was going to last as long as it did.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that was also something that they had to push to get through. I mean, and I think that they probably should have done it together, but they found different ways, and I think that's what eventually pushed them apart. Because I think they both wanted something different out of life, is the main problem.
Yeah, Jane talks a lot about how she went to college and got an education, and she had to give everything up when she married Stephen.
Yeah, because
he needed constant care from her.
Yeah, and I think that she probably had a lot of resentment too, based on her writing. I think that from her writing style, I think that it's a much more of an objective point of view, so I don't think that she's resentful for that now, but I think that definitely at the time she had a lot of resentments towards him for not being able to do what she wanted with her life. One thing I think is really admirable is how Jane is able to keep her faith throughout the marriage, and how even though her husband, who had a really big impact on her, was an atheist pretty much, and she was still able to keep her religion.
I definitely think throughout the novel, she keeps her beliefs very stagnant, and she doesn't really let him influence everything.
Yeah, I think that she does not get enough credit. I think she's a really strong person. And I know that's really cliche, but I really do.
She's incredibly independent.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of really cool throughout the book that you kind of see Jane grow into that kind of strong person, because in the beginning of the book, she's not really.
Yeah, she is kind of a pushover.
Yeah, and she's timid and stuff, and I don't know. I think that's a really cool thing to watch the character grow.
It's not covered in the memoir. You can definitely see how confident she is within her writing style.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
See, back to the writing style, I think that Jane is a really, really incredible author.
I think to truly understand the book, you need to look at her writing style.
I agree. Honestly, she has a very unique way of writing too.
Yeah.
Which I think is really important, especially to this book. I think that something that was definitely a challenge for not just Jane, but also Stephen, I think a big challenge for them was definitely raising their children, because obviously they didn't have a traditional relationship.
Yeah.
Because of, not just Stephen's illness, but also his brilliance and his jobs and stuff. I think that raising their children, it was such a struggle because it was untraditional, and there's not really many people that can consult in that way.
Especially when you look at the children, they were very rushed to grow up.
Yeah.
And spend time with their dad because they didn't know.
Yeah.
I think that they tried to provide a more stable environment with their kids, but, especially through having John in their lives, I think they were trying to get a more normal life for the kids, like a normal childhood with a dad that wasn't disabled. Yeah, I think that, I don't know, I'm sure that their children must have had a tough time growing up like that, because obviously none of their friends had that relationship with their parents. Mm-hmm. I think that made for a very unique relationship between the children and the parents. And John.
Yeah.
And John.
And I think before John came into their life, it was more like having less than one parent, because Jane wasn't even available to them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because Stephen was constantly away or needing medical attention.
Yeah, and I think that Jane was also not just trying to take care of Stephen, but also trying to maintain her own mental health through it too. I think she was trying to also find herself through the kids.